mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us, and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
I look forward to speaking frankly with anyone across this city and across this country about how we can work together to deliver for New Yorkers. And in a conversation with the president, I will make clear that even New Yorkers that I had met over the course of this campaign who had voted for the president, they told me that what they had voted for was a lower cost of living. And I will make it clear how these policies, be they policies to throw hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers off of SNAP, policies to detain and deport New Yorkers as young as 6 years of age, policies that seek to push New Yorkers even more out of the place they call home, those are not only hurting New Yorkers, they're not only hurting the city, they're also in direct contradiction to so much of what the president spoke about in his campaign.
We've spoken about the exodus from New York by those alarmed by Zohran Mamdani's triumph there. The Mamdani refugees will be fleeing New York City, and among them will be, sadly, many Jews, Josh. But despite Mamdani's radical rhetoric and anti-Israel views, the exit polls, the CNN exit polls, showed that 1 in 3 Jews in New York City voted for him. Does that surprise you?
Well, two things to note here, Rita. One is that if you look at the exit poll that I saw, to be clear, that number is galling. But on the other hand, it actually was a slightly lower percentage of Jews for Mamdani than Protestants and Catholics in New York for Mamdani. So Cuomo actually beat Mamdani in New York City among Jews, Catholics, and Protestants. Mamdani just won people who have no religious affiliation, and he won that by like a shockingly high margin. He got like 70% of the religiously unaffiliated votes. Having said that, 1/3 of Jews voting for Mamdani is obviously 1/3 too many. And you look at some heavily Jewish precincts, such as the Upper West Side, and the Upper West Side went for Mamdani. Now, a lot of the more religious communities in Brooklyn and so forth went very heavily for Cuomo against Mamdani. Rita, the reality here is that the Jewish community in the United States is extremely politically divided between religiously observant and just culturally traditional Jews and deeply assimilated, progressive, left-wing, reform Jews, etc. there. My old friend Ben Shapiro likes to refer to these Jews as ginos, as Jews in name only, and in comparison to rhinos, Republicans name only there. They might be halakhically Jewish under Jewish law, that is to say. They might think that they enjoy a bagel and lox or watching Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm reruns, but there's nothing particularly Jewish about them there. And unfortunately, Rita, this is the story of the Jewish people going back thousands and thousands of years. The good news from a sheer demographic and political voting pattern perspective is that it is the more traditional and religious Jews that are actually marrying other Jews, unlike the left-wing Jews, who are having lots of Jewish children. So I think that the Jewish voting demographic in America, call it 10, 15, 20 years from now, is going to be considerably different looking than it is now, and I would argue considerably more right-wing, which is a very good thing.